Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you very much indeed for your patience, and welcome back to Day 3 of the 2017 Cannes Lions International Festival of Creativity. Our next session now comes from Isobar and Tencent and looks at the impact of AI on the role and future of creativity. Please welcome now to the stage the moderator of this session, Fortune's executive editor, Adam Lashinsky, and his guests, the CEO of Isobar, Jean Lin, and the director of Tencent's AI Lab, Vincent Liu. Round of applause, please.
Thank you very much. Good afternoon, everybody. I'd like to say a special hello to the people up in the upper balcony. It's great to see all of you up there. Yes, hello. Great. Thank you for waving. Well, thank you for being patient through the delay. Welcome to the two of you. For those of you who were in the last session, I want to tell you that Jean and Vincent are like the supermodels of advertising and artificial intelligence. So you're in for quite a treat. Let me briefly set up what we're going to be talking about and then turn it over to the experts. Jean Lin, seated on my left, is the CEO of Isobar, a global agency, and notably she's based in China, in Shanghai, and there's a reason for that, and you're going to hear about that a little bit. Vincent Wei Liu is the head of Tencent AI Lab. It's important that you understand he's a former academic. There's a war for talent and artificial intelligence, and he's one of the warriors. And he has come over to Tencent, the giant Chinese company, to do basic research, which is very different from applied research, which he'll talk about a little bit. So with that preamble, let me turn it over to both of you for some introductions, starting with Eugene, please.
Okay. Hi, everyone. Very nice to be here. I'm global CEO of Isobar. I'm based in Shanghai. When my boss gave me this job, I said, "Are you sure you want to give me this job? Because I'm not going to move away from Shanghai. I think this is the most exciting, innovative market that actually will bring about many changes in a completely different logic." And my boss said, "Actually, that's what we need, because what we want to do is to ensure that we can transform the industry from different perspectives." So we're like 6,000 people right now across 45 markets. And what we wake up every morning is to think, how can we unlock the digital potential of organization through the creative use of digital? I think that's the most fabulous thing that you can imagine in our time, the creativity with the power of digital, and how marketing experiences and digital product actually create together that fantastic opportunity for us to move forward. And that's how we actually work quite closely with Tencent and all the other tech partners in China, try to see how we push the boundary a little bit. So before Vincent start to explain to you what he does in the AI lab in Tencent, I want to show you a brief video. That's a video that shows some of the innovation work that we do, because innovation is really part of our DNA. We want to do better. We think we can do better. But an interesting story about that is that the actual video was shot by a young creative in our Shanghai office. So he used a drone to film the beginning scene from outside of our office building. So here's the video.
Wow, Gene, I have to say that at the beginning of that video, I was frightened, and in the middle, I was excited, and at the end, I was frightened again. So, we'll talk about that. Wow,
Right.
wow, what an amazing sizzle reel. Vincent, please tell everybody about yourself.
Okay. Hello, everyone. It's my first experience on stage in France, and yeah, I come from China, and I joined Tencent last year, and we are building a brand new research and development in China at Tencent, and we have a lot of people hired from overseas, and we do together to improve the world, improve the product in China. And let's play a brief video introduction to our Tencent AI Lab, and please play the video, the AI Lab brand video.
From our first breath, we strive to understand the world. Curious, question, learn, see, and experience. We are using AI technology to seek answers to complex problems. Drawing inspiration from nature and the science of creation, machine learning, complex, deep, intuitive, knowledge. Moving beyond what we see. Using big data to enhance tasks. Communicate the known and solve the unknown. And answer questions. To connect people with the world, we are looking further than ever before. Make AI everywhere.
Wonderful. Also a little frightening, but very upbeat music.
Yeah.
This is my creative critique.
Okay.
No, very nice. So the first thing we're gonna ask the two of you to talk about is how AI has shaped our world currently, right now.
Okay.
And Vincent, please.
Okay, so we have a lot of concepts in computer science, computer, machine, and artificial intelligence. All these things are I think, very relevant and almost the same thing. The same thing is we want to make the machine to learn how humans do and have the intelligence of human or almost imitate the human's intelligence. Okay, so AI has a very long history dated back to 1940s. As early as the birth of computer, AI's concept was to help machine to learn and solve problems. Really very simple problem and now very complex problems such as game. Okay, so in modern age, big companies like Google, Microsoft, Facebook, and Tencent continue to push the boundary of AI and make our product more intelligent and smarter. Okay, and in our Tencent, we currently focus on 4 areas of the frontier AI research. They are machine learning. Okay, machine learning is make machine to learn from data. Okay, the other is computer vision. Computer vision is all about some image and video processing and to make machine to see. Okay, the third one is audio and speech recognition that make machine listen. And the last one is natural language processing, which will make the machine to translate automatic between different language and understand what you say. Okay, so this is all our 4 areas in AI in Tencent.
Vincent, right now, what are computers good at seeing? What can they see and what can they not see?
Okay, so this is a very challenging question. Okay, some brave company and the research institute said they can make machine to see everything. So it's not true. Basically, we just can make machine to see very simple images such as facial images. We have more complicated images such as natural scene images, satellite images, and generic images. Okay, but the machine now currently is able to beat human in facial recognition, let's say in image. And in speech, I can see in Chinese, a lot of Chinese companies can claim their speech recognition system beat humans' Chinese speech recognition. But I don't know, I have no idea what is the situation in English or French speech recognition. But at least in Chinese, we can do very better, and even better than human. And so if you have used our product WeChat, and in WeChat we have a speech recognition toolkit. When you install the toolkit, okay, we can automatically know what you said in our WeChat platform.
Excellent. And by the way, when we were delayed by the technical problem, I commented to Jean and Vincent that it's a good thing we had computers doing, that we had humans doing this panel, not machines, that they would not have dealt well with the delay. Jean, tell us about the world we're in right now for machine learning and artificial intelligence.
I think what Vincent said is absolutely true. The fact that I think AI, machine learning, and data are not new. I mean, if you're a gamer, you're actually being supported by AI for a long time now. The emergence of digital technology has made customers' expectation to experience becoming heightened, right? Now it's very difficult to design a really innovative experience that make people feel that they've never seen before. But I think it's fair to say that it's only at the rise of AI, it starts to help us to be able to create personalized brand experience at scale and at speed. Because the real-time data nature help us to find so many relevant and creative ways to talk to people. And also they help us to design very different conversation interfaces. So like this example is what we did for KFC in China. It's a robotic ordering device in the store. And the key thing behind it in AI is the natural language processing, because there are a lot of dialects in China. People speak differently. How can you ensure that people are comfortable talking and taking order and to that precision so that it's a good service experience? It's a good way to bring the moment of inspiration, the moment of transaction closer together, powered by AI.
And would you talk for a moment? I've made a couple of jokes about AI being frightening, but it is frightening to people, and I assume that because people are afraid of the machines taking over. I assume that marketing and advertising, one of the things it can do is help to make people more comfortable with these innovations. Is that true?
Yeah, I mean, it has to be invisible. I mean, technology, the best technology is invisible. And when you're dealing with your phone today, it probably takes some time in the past to learn in the mobile-first world. But actually, right now, it's an invisible technology. It's an immersive experience. I think that's what marketing, creativity, and human beings can do best.
And one last question on that, Jean. You talked about having robotic ordering systems for KFC in China. Has your global team seen different cultural approaches to this? For example, is there any evidence that the Chinese market is more willing to accept than, say, the European or the North American market?
I feel that it's almost a blessing to be late in certain things. You have a quantum leap into the new era. I truly feel that in all the market that we deal with, Chinese market is the market that actually are more receptive to innovation or for people to try things.
Because it's new and growing so quickly, people are experiencing these things for the first time.
Yeah.
Good. We want to move on and talk about how AI and machine learning will drive innovation. And Vincent, you have several thoughts about how this is going to happen. You have one that I see that I don't like at all, and that has to do with an AI journalist. That's a terrible idea.
Yeah, terrible idea.
I'm kidding, please.
Yeah, actually there are some AI journalists, but the article they wrote is not as good as our human. And actually we can make a machine to compose music and write a paper. And also this paper can be accepted by some genius. Some researchers in MIT wrote that program. Okay, and for our company, we want to make AI to best meet the consumer's profile and analyze the consumer's behavior and give more personalized product to these consumers because we have full picture of this consumer by using machine learning technology. And currently we have several very popular consumer-facing products. And now I just give several examples. The first is we can pay with our face. Okay, we use facial recognition technique to do identity verification. Then we just use our product WeChat by faces to make payment and transfer money between friends. The second is we.
Oh, I'm sorry. I need to ask you. The question that comes to my mind immediately is identical twins. How does that work?
It sometimes works, sometimes doesn't work. up to your database. If a database have a lot of numerous faces, including ours, include different race people, we can do that. But if the computer is, we can say statistically, AI is better than human in face recognition, but in very, very few cases, such as the particular twins, AI probably fail. But this is a very small case, and in statistics, this can be ignored.
So it's very interesting the way, as a researcher, you talk about that, because this is the same argument for self-driving cars, right?
Yeah.
Everybody knows that autonomous vehicles will be better than humans.
Yeah.
But it's going to take some time for everyone to accept this, right?
Yeah. For self-driving, this is the biggest AI concept here now. But I have some concern for self-driving car system because, okay, just talking about the image or vision, okay, only based on image or vision, self-driving car doesn't work at all. So they need some sensors, some lidars to help your car to locate the object in front, locate the lane, and find the pedestrian and the car to avoid them. So if based on only images, it doesn't work. Yeah,
so I interrupted you. I think you wanted to talk more about voice recognition as well.
They use both image and voice recognition in self-driving car system. But I'm told it doesn't work at all. They need more hardware assistant. So for self-driving car, I think AI is very complicated things, including software and hardware. Software is some image and audio recognition, and hardware is about sensor, control, decision making, and so on.
So Vincent, I started this section with a joke about not being a good idea to have machines write news articles, but you don't agree. Tencent is quite interested in this, right? Can you tell everybody, please?
Yeah. So, but in Chinese, my point is in Chinese, maybe we are good. In China, we have automatic news reporter, and we like computer to read a lot of news articles and a lot of user comment, user clicks to learn how we can put the news to every consumer. And for some particular group of consumers, we can extract useful information from this group news to tell them what the content is about, this kind of news. But my point is, for a lot of kind of news, we cannot do well. We just for particular types, such as for sport, for entertainment, we can give a good report.
For sport, for example, you can do a report about what happened in the game.
Yeah.
And of course, the computer will not miss the deadline, right?
Yeah. The computer, will not miss the deadline, will not miss any labor, and the computer don't need to eat lunch and dinner, so they can do every time, every hour.
Yep.
Yeah.
Talk about photos and videos, I think?
Yeah, photos and video is more interesting on my hand, because I'm a long-time expert in image and video processing. And in Europe, there is a popular app called Prisma. It's created by Russia. And the Prisma is transfer the style of your photo to any kind of style. They have a lot of styles. I think currently we have more than 200 styles. And in Tencent, we create a new app. This app is transfer the style of videos, not only your photos, to new style. And we can see the example on screen. Like this one is a very famous Chinese movie, Hero.
it's really interesting that how the field, it's like a filter effect for video.
Yeah.
And there's so many things that actually AI can augment the creative development and delivery processes today already.
Yeah. AI can do a lot of generations, generate new things, such as for this one, we can generate an original video to any kind of style you want. And for this video, the style is cartoon, Chinese cartoon.
It's really good.
It's very beautiful as well.
Yeah.
Great, Jean, please talk about how AI and machine learning will drive innovation from your perspective.
I think for our industry, we're an industry dependent on great ideas. Great idea being originated, great idea being created, great idea being distributed. I think AI does help us a lot in the process. I would like to think AI not frightening. I think AI is our best friend. And I think AI will actually help us to revolutionize this industry in our current resource structure as well. So data obviously is the fuel of AI. That's one of the most important parts that actually help to train the artificial intelligence to learn. But I think in the creative development process, you can look at it from before and after. So before the idea was born, AI can be used to augment creativity. So in the process that you understand consumers, you draw insights real time, and you try to analyze the impact a certain creativity can do to your business, not just in a creative communication perspective, but in a business model and business sense. So for example, we have one thing that we're working in the US with Google is really to using artificial intelligence, helping to scan all the social conversation call logs, people talking about certain services. So you can actually predict when a problem may arise. Therefore, on the back end, you can try to fix the problem before it becomes a customer service nightmare. So there are many things that we can do here in listening, understanding, and augmented creativity. And that's how I think any creative person and strategist need to embrace, because there are tools that will help you to reset your expectation to how creative idea can change the business model. I think also after the idea was originated, there are many tools that you can use through AI to activate creativity. So the video and filming filter, as an example, is something that there will be more and more things you can do with ready tools like this. But also in the fact that when you're activating creativity, today a lot of our resources are wasted in the fact that we're trying to do repetitive stuff. Mm-hmm. Because you sort of need to, so you create banner ads, you need to see what's the region, what's the weather, what's the geographic profile, and then you need to make a series of different ads. Mm-hmm. The way that we work, for example, with some of the automotive giants is to automate the banner ads in the way that you pick up the weather cue, the geography, the cookies, the experience, and see how you can actually automatically generate creativity. It's like having a creative designer living in your browser. Mm-hmm. And that's actually how AI can truly help us. And I think it needs to be welcomed by the creative industry rather than feel it as a threat.
And I think before 10, maybe years ago, there were just fewer data points, right? And then all of a sudden, with things like WeChat, advertisers are flooded with data. You've said that it's the fuel. Talk about how you get your arms around all of that data on behalf of your clients.
So one thing that we try very hard to do, except for working for partners like Tencent, who has a lot of data, and seeing how to make it comprehensible for clients, is to develop tools. So one example is we have a tool in China called Code One. That's a tool that actually analyze and look at images, social conversations, text, images, and soon we'll probably move into voice, to ensure that it creates predictive model to help our client to get insights. Because the key thing right now, I think every client faces is not that they don't have data, is they have too much data. How can you make data a utility that's beautifully sitting in the organization to help you activate your business plan and creativity? I think that will be the wonderland that all of us want to be in the creative industry.
So what I'm hearing from both of you is that there was, in the golden age of advertising, creative people thought up ideas and then they presented them to the public. And then Google came along and did something different, but really only with text. It was very clever for words that people could advertise against, but that was it. It wasn't very interesting from a creative perspective. You're saying now we're getting to a point where the advertising industry can do both. It can be creative, but it can use machine learning to target way more, in the same way that Google did a good job with uninteresting little words.
Yeah, it's both in understanding and supporting the origination. So for example, everybody in China especially, everybody take food photos. When you go to a restaurant, you're crazy in taking photos first, posting it before you're allowed to eat anything. People say, don't touch that, I need to take a photo and put it on the social network. That's what happens with everyone. So with the help of AI, actually what you can do is you can make sense out of those photos, because they may not say this restaurant is delicious in their post.
Yes.
They'll just post a photo.
Yes.
So how does this image tell the story of the person? And how does that help us in making understanding while we're trying to understand how brands can service the clients and their customers much better? I think that's fabulous and fascinating.
I agree. And it's very funny for the Americans in the audience who watched the HBO show Silicon Valley. That actually was a plot line of one of the shows, was identifying food. And it was quite funny, but you have to have seen it. We want to move into talking about the role that automation will play in the creative process in the future. And Vincent, I know you're very interested in this, and you want to talk a little bit about repeatable tasks.
Yeah. About work, when we talk about AI, the data is foremost. Okay, previously, about 10 or 20 years ago, we don't have a lot of data. So we just have several data points. Then the AI cannot work, because data is very few. Okay, so given the data, we can do a lot of things. And where the data come from? Okay, in China, we have a lot of popular apps such as Jeans, for example. We can use the Chinese name is 大众点评 before we go to a restaurant. We can use a lot of apps to choose the restaurant. And before we eat, we can take a lot of photo, and we can rate this photo for this plant. Okay, so in my opinion, if we don't have a good data, firstly we have a lot of data, and now we have a good proper data, and to make our AI program more intelligent. So that's what we have done in our company Tencent. Okay, so this is the difference between creativity and creative work. Okay, if we don't use data properly, then we just do very, very low quality creative work. So if we give the data to the program, AI program, properly in a smart way, then we can make very personalized and very high quality creative work. And this creative work can replace previous things. So in my opinion, the creative work can do very well in some repetitive work, some high frequency work, and some data-central work, talk about data. And
excuse me, what's an example of repetitive work in the creative field that machines can do better to leave room for humans to be more creative?
Very simple. We just make the computer keep watching the movie all the time. So human just have several hours to watch the movie, but the computer can have full time to see the movie. And then we can log all the things in the movies. So this is repetitive work. All of some reading articles, reading books. All these things are repetitive work. And AI can do very well in this repetitive work, data-central work.
Interesting. So for example, the computer can read, I'm just going to make this up, maybe read 50 newspapers and say, this topic has been talked about the most. Maybe you should be paying attention to this, to the humans, and then the humans can be creative about it. Is that what you're saying?
Yeah. It's what we have done.
Good. You were at Columbia. You were an academic before moving into Tencent.
Yeah, okay.
A lot of people in your field like to talk about the singularity, the day when machines will be one with the machines. Are you a believer in that?
In my conservative way, we will not believe it because I think the logic of AI, a logical computer, is still according to human instruction. We teach the computer or the AI do everything that we have done before, such as for facial recognition, how computer do facial recognition, because we tell this photo is me and the other photo is Jane, so computer can do that. So in my currently research area, and most of things, AI is not good at human, just for very few things such as facial recognition, audio recognition. So I would believe the singularity is not near at all. And in a foreseeable future, AI will not replace human in a lot of areas, especially some intelligent things.
That's very comforting. Thank you for that, Vincent. Jean, if you could talk about this more specifically in the advertising and marketing world, the future for automation.
I just feel that there is a huge anxiety level after AlphaGo won over the world championship about how many jobs that AI is going to take from human, specifically in our industry. And there's this tension between human and machine. Always. It's almost like human versus machine. I remember earlier, I think it was last year, in Japan, there is this AI creative director that devour all the data of TV commercials and try to make TV commercials in an agency. And then at the end, there was a PK between the human creative director and the AI creative director on an actual brief. So the human creative director actually win out, and then people like the work better, but it's only by 9%. It's not a lot in terms of people liking the work of AI versus the people liking the work of human. But what I always think is that this is a good tool. AI is a good tool in helping us moving into the future. We need to take them with us rather than against them. I think this is probably the most important thing that happened in our industry that can change and revamp our industry in terms of resources infrastructure. That's how I see it, because right now there's so much work being done in the agency by junior people that actually can easily be automated because it's repetitive, it's logical, it's about monitoring the results, reports, and make sense out of it. These are quite easy to be replaced. But the thing about it is that when it's replaced, our most talented creative people can spend all the time thinking of how a great idea actually have impact to brand and business building. And that would change the way we use our time. In a way, it gives us better commercial return. And in a way, it actually will help the creative agency to reinvest back into the areas that they have to do better. So I think this is really how to create that exponential effect, not human versus machine, but human times machine. I think that's a key thing that we need to make happen. We need to find ways to make it happen in our creative process.
That makes total sense. Have you given any thought to what junior people will do in that scenario? What will be the entry-level jobs in advertising?
I think it's like in any other industry. You just have to think strategically. You have to explore your potential to the utmost. In a model like this, let's say that a lot of repetitive work can be replaced by AI. When you recruit junior people, they have to be the best in class. They have to be the best, different angle of diversity and creativity that help you think of ideas that you never would have think of because you're in a different generation, right? There are optimal opportunity there that we can really make junior people, junior in age, but very innovative and creative in their thinking.
I understand.
And create a strategic value.
Great. Let's conclude this conversation by talking a little bit about the future of creativity in marketing. I know this is a new topic for you, Vincent, but now you're at Tencent and you've given this some thought.
Yeah. So AI and machine learning can give a lot of innovations in so many areas, and but for some kind of problems, especially creative something. Okay, we call it UDC problem.
I'm sorry, what problem?
UDC, uncertainty, diversity, and complexity problem.
Okay.
This kind of problem is about all creativity of humans. And for this kind of problem, okay, AI still has a very long way to go. Just give several examples. AlphaGo, everyone know it. So it beat the best human player in Chinese Asian game, Go. And just this one example. And other kind of is we can do very well in some chess, international chess game. And this is just two games I know computer AI can beat the best human player, okay? And for other kind of games, I know some companies are developing some new program, AI program, to do StarCraft, Warcraft, and something. And till now, their AI program cannot beat very ordinary human player. So this is the situation. And I have a full belief in humans' intelligence, human creativity. Till now, AI cannot do very well. And yes, maybe so many years later, and we have more data, and we have more rule, then AI can do much better. But to replace humans' creativity, I think it's very hard. I think in my life, in all my life, I will not see this happen. Yeah.
Very good, thank you. Jean, same question for you, please.
No, so I think Vincent talked about how AI support, the way we understand, the way we connect, and the way we really activate the processes. I'm a big fan of human being really a species that can transcend. So I have full confidence in human beings in the game with AI, because I feel that right now, it's just look at AlphaGo. So AlphaGo can beat the world champion. I'm sure he wouldn't enjoy the game while he's winning the game. I'm sure he doesn't want to hug someone after he won the game. I'm sure that when it wins, there's not an element of emotion, compassion, and love in the world of AI. So it's almost like AI is great. AI is something that we need to understand and embrace more. We need to include them as part of our processes. But on the other hand, humans have such huge emotional intelligence that's different from artificial intelligence. And that's how make our life different. I mean, one of the reasons that AI, that I understood in our conversation, cannot really win a game is in those games that has uncertainty, diversity, and complexity. It's because they cannot predict human decision, because human makes silly decisions, right? Human doesn't always make logical decisions.
And we're unpredictable.
We're predictable and unpredictable in a way. There are parts predictable, there are parts you just said that I feel it in my gut, so let's go and do it. So I think there will always be this perpetual processes where I think emotional intelligence is more important than artificial intelligence, and we need to find a way to work together. And at the end of the day, and this is a sentence I like very much, I believe in it very much, it is that really the power of being human. What's the power of being human? The power of being human lies in empathy. The power of empathy is why we're human, why we're better, why we make impact to the society, why we take people with us.
Jean, before I ask you to conclude the session, I like the way you summarized what I think everyone in the room would agree advertising is particularly good at, which is emotion, compassion, and love. And I want to ask you, Vincent, will machines ever be capable of those three things?
I think, in my opinion, it's human. With the AI, we can do more creative and better, but not replaced by AI. And although we have a lot of capability provided by AI, with this capability, human can be better, more creative, more happier, and more joy. So let's good things. AI has no emotion. AI has no real emotion. Yeah, no, AI has no sentiment that human has. With AI's power, with maybe some powerful, some not very powerful now, human can still go further.
Very good. Jean, if you'd just conclude for us and sum up the things we've talked about.
Yeah, I feel that this is really an interesting, inspiring conversation. I mean, in the process of preparing it with Vincent, also seeing the boundary of science and how science actually can make us a better human being. I think coming back to empathy, I think empathy is one thing that you cannot automate or outsource. It's not gonna happen in today's world. So how can we be a better human? And how can we create the opportunity for artificial intelligence to truly be the liberating force for ourselves and the agent for change? Because it pushes us to look at things differently. It pushes the creative industry to look at our organization structure, to look at the way we come up with creativity. Actually, diversity is the enemy of AI. Because when you have a diverse team with completely different processes, different cultures, different way of originating ideas, AI will not be able to make sense out of the logic and rules.
Yes.
It takes longer time for them to learn. And that's actually how human will win out. I would encourage everybody to think of AI as your friend. It's a liberating force, an agent for change, and also at the same time, think of how AI will empower people, how we include AI in our creative team, how we make sure that we take full advantage of technology, because I think at the end, love wins. And I think, you know, we're the agent for empathy, and that will just make the creative industry a much, much better place.
My key takeaway from our conversation, I've understood before today how machines help make our lives easier in all sorts of ways. And this has been going on for decades. You know, the washing machine made it so that people didn't have to scrub clothing. But it wasn't before now that I understood how it will even affect something as creative as advertising. So everybody, please join me in thanking Jean and Vincent.
Thank you very much indeed. Jean Lin from Isobar, Vincent Liu from Tencent, and of course, many thanks for the conversation, Adam Lashinsky from Fortune. Ladies and gentlemen, don't go away. We're taking a very, very, very short break of about 4 minutes before our next speaker is here on the Lumiere stage. He's the editor of The New Yorker, David Remnick, and he's going to be tackling the important topic of real news in an age of fake news. So don't go away. 3 minutes. Thank you.